Alright everyone, my name is Renegade Operative, and I will be covering Griffin Gaming in this video on Only Racists Don't Like Miles Morales in Spider-Man 2, according to the amazing Lucas. So it's kind of a kill shot, a shot in one. I get to shoot at Griffin Gaming and probably amazing Lucas. I'm not really a fan of both of these creators because, well, for starters, Griffin Gaming is the purveyor of such greatest hits as this is how you don't play Resident Evil 4 remake video where he completely sucks ass, he sucks dong, he sucks the highest and mightiest of penises at this game. And
is there no mechanic for that?
There's the complaining about the controls. Oh, what you gonna do? You got a knife, you can parry that. You can parry that. Okay, he getting some good shots in. Let's continue further into the video. I don't understand why he's constantly just walking around while the villagers are converging on his ass, his location, and everything. Oh, he's gonna take that hit. Oh, yep.
Oh
Yup.
Bro, I can't even like move. You feel like literally you're just like stuck.
Oh, he's starting to sound like a certain Voldemort, a certain DSP. Oh, man. Just, like, where can you go wrong with Resident Evil 4?
The inventory?
Fight back, motherfucker. Fight back. Oh, his knife is broken.
Like
Wait
so
a minute.
weird.
We doing like a double video here. Just
Could have updated the inventory system. That would have been
updated the inventory. No, you're struggling at it because you suck, boy.
nice.
Dude, he's about to get fucking killed by this chainsaw guy. Oh, never mind.
Thanks, Granny.
She's gonna do it for him. Oh, he's almost close to death. I just want to show this one part because he ain't really good at this game, bruh. They're converging on him, bruh. They're about to stomp him into the finest wine, bruh. Why is he slow walking? Yo, this pisses me off already, and we're not even covering today's video right now. That's amazing. This is not COD, sir.
Oh my god.
Just standing in front of everybody.
Yeah, I'm done. This
Yo,
shit is ass, bro.
Rage quit.
I'm good. This plays exactly like the original, except you can aim and shoot. That's it.
And he's dead. So you can see how terrible this man is at Resident Evil. You can see the skill issues all prevalent up in this motherfucker. And you suspect that I'm going to probably take his opinion seriously? No way. And Amazing Lucas is clown mode material, but at least sometimes I be agreeing with Lucas. At least sometimes when he talks about Spider-Man mechanics in detail, I might agree, I might disagree. The way he handled the whole Raimi suit controversy and the way that he was like going well over ham and fist over that when they couldn't reveal it, NDA rights and everything. Sony Pictures and Sony Entertainment is definitely different from PlayStation. I didn't like how Lucas handled that, and he was in my comment section actually at one point going ham in the paint, doing the whole Raimi army thing because of the black Raimi suit, which they actually deliver in Spider-Man 2, so there's really no issue there. So I'm sure he's happy. But, you know, there's some times where Lucas is off the fringe, and sometimes where I actually do agree with him. But we'll see how this kill shot works. As you see, Griffin just rage quit like the bitch he is because Resident Evil 4 was too much to handle for this softy boy. Alright? It's just I know this is when he uninstalled right here, and that's crazy. But no, we're on Spider-Man today. So sorry for that little divergence. I just wanted to show you guys this, and let's get right into the mix of this. Only racists don't like Miles Morales in Spider-Man 2, according to Amazing Lucas.
Gaming individuals, I hope everyone is having a great day today, just full of so much positivity and happiness, dude, because today we are going to be taking a look at one of my personal favorite YouTube content creators that toes the line between politics and video games, and that, of course, is none other than the amazing Lucas.
Alright, so before I get back to the point, I just kind of want to start. He said Lucas toes the line, but Griffin's channel toes over the line, and he has a lot of anti-woke stuff all over all of this. Woke. That's all I see, just a fucking buzzword that these stupid ass parrots tend to repeat over and over again, mostly I would say like a good 80% of the time they really don't have anything valid to say other than this, that, modern gaming sucks, and I'm pretty sure his Spider-Man knowledge is very immaculate. I'm looking at a very intelligent man right here. But that's besides the point. I just find it funny that what he's going after Lucas for, he's pretty much on the other side of the coin anyway.
Politics in video games, and that, of course, is none other than the amazing Lucas.
Delicious, fragile tears.
This is where the fun begins.
And well, we're going to be taking a look at a very special video today revolving around everyone's favorite video game of 2023, and that, of course, is Spider-Mid 2. Now,
Alright, so clearly it's like, oh, there's politics in the game and then the game's bad, but it's like, that's not a nuance, critical review whatsoever. It's like detail upon detail upon detail needs to be explained outside of just the side missions and side content. And I've said this before. The side missions themselves vary, but of course, they ascertain to the fact of friendly neighborhood Spider-Man doing friendly neighborhood things, because friendly neighborhood, no matter what people are, what they identify as, it's just the name of the game for Spider-Man just being an overall nice person. But let's not tell people of this caliber that information. Let it soak in for a minute and have them scream the same buzzword 5,000 times.
Revolving around everyone's favorite video game of 2023.
And for the record, I definitely don't think Spider-Man is mid whatsoever. Mid is like just average, nothing fundamental about that average nature, something you probably already done millions of times. And I get this is a sequel, but still, it's like, come on, man.
That, of course, is Spider-Mid 2. Now, the video from the amazing Lucas we're going to be watching here today is titled Miles Morales is the main Spider-Man racist triggered. And you can probably already guess where this video is going. Apparently, according to the amazing Lucas, if you're not happy that Miles Morales is replacing Spider-Man 1.5 games into the Spider-Man series, then apparently you are literally just racist, bro. Now, keep in mind...
How about this? Keep in mind that you both are wrong, technically, and I will show you. Alright, let's debunk where they are wrong. So I'm on this video by High CHD, and I want you guys to listen now. Now, for context of this situation, people believe that Peter Parker is retired for attending to Peter Parker business and not being Spider-Man temporarily, while the sequel sets up for Norman and Doc Ock teaming up, as well as, the fact that fucking Carnage is still out there in the wild. He got away in Spider-Man 2 and the side missions. And there's a lot of other things going on. Cindy Moon being introduced. You have the Chameleon as well existing. Still pretty decent setup for Spider-Man 2. But one of the main things that people took away is that Miles Morales is now the main Spider-Man of this continuity. And I'm just like, well, a break isn't retirement. See, I take a fucking break every fucking week. I'm not retired from YouTube when I take a break. A retirement is like you're hanging up the gloves permanently. A break is like you're hanging up the gloves temporarily. And there's this dialogue that these people who haven't played the game at all, they tend to miss out on. Listen to what Miles Morales tells Peter Parker in this sentence.
This city still looks like a 2 Spider-Man job to me.
This city still looks like a 2 Spider-Man job to me. He didn't say 1. He didn't say, well, maybe it could be 3 with Cindy Moon, you never know, but he didn't say 1. He said 2. That's a little plural term there for people that don't understand. There's 2 Spider-Men protecting New York. And the job is even too big for him. If you paid attention to the game instead of these runaway clickbait fucking articles, you would know that he's still on the job. Spider-Man is still around. with Miles Morales and Peter Parker. And Peter, in that whole exchange, didn't want Miles to do it by himself, but he said, you know what, I got it for a while. Temporarily, I got this, right? It's like people cannot understand context or any form of that matter when it comes to any type of storytelling that should be the most basic thing to understand. Let's continue.
I mean, just to point this out up front, Lucas was also not a fan of the fact that Miles Morales was replacing Spider-Man during his initial playthrough of the game.
Don't do it, game. Don't do it, bro. Don't make Miles Spider-Man, bro. Don't do it, game. Don't say, hey, this man's giving up. He's retiring. He wants to settle down. Don't do it, bro. Like, Miles, you got this, bro. Don't do it, fam. Don't do it. Don't you fucking do it. Don't you fucking do it, game.
Why is it getting all close like that? What the fuck? Okay, that's funny.
Don't do it, Insomniac. Don't you fucking do it.
Go be Peter Parker for a while.
For a while, bruh. Both of these reactions are wrong. A while. Not go be Peter Parker forever, man. Just don't worry. I got this whole city by myself. By myself. Like, none of that shit ever happened. Why are these guys, they don't understand what the fuck is going on with context clues in the story. You know, take a break, be yourself. And we'll be greater together when Spider-Man 3 comes, because the creative directors seem to be confirming that more content is coming, and the fact that Tony Todd himself said he only recorded 10% of his lines as Venom, meaning there's more to the table, there's more they're saving up, or there's possible DLC coming down the line. Like, be real about it, motherfucker. Be real. That's all you gotta be, is be real.
Are you sure it's a big call you for it?
If you gave this game 10 out of 10, you're fucking retarded. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh boy.
Like, you're actually fucking brain dead. The man had one game. The man had one game.
Are you aware that Peter Parker himself also took a break during, or he wasn't in New York during the majority of Spider-Man Miles Morales, the standalone content that released after Spider-Man 1? It really makes you think, doesn't it? You know, remember when the spider swear happened? Let's take a look at that real quick. All right, here we go.
Electricity. Wow. Gotta be honest, little jealous.
Hey, look, I got nothing on the OG.
Oh, there's Miles Morales respecting Peter Parker. I got nothing on the OG, but these motherfucking grifters, man, they will tell you otherwise. They will swear up and down. They never paid attention to any of these plot points, bar none, by far, right? Like, Miles is just the most disrespectful Spider-Man of all time, or something like that. In their brains, they think that, but in reality, that's not actually what happened.
Think we should run tests tomorrow? A little voltage analysis?
Oh, man. Yeah, sorry. I've been meaning to tell you, I'm not gonna be around for the next few weeks.
Is this some kind of pee joke I don't get?
No. MJ's headed overseas for the Bugle and requested me as her photographer. Kind of a working vacation for us.
Oh, man. Look, I don't know if I'm ready to fly solo. I screwed up today big time with the helicopter.
But then you delivered big time. You saved my bacon, Miles.
I got lucky.
Hey, I did this gig for 8 years without backup, and you better believe I screwed up lots of times. But that is how you learn.
Look at that. A learning lesson. Teaching his student how to be Spider-Man. And then you know the whole oath thing that he does.
What's this?
Christmas present. But first, you gotta take the oath.
Oh. Okay.
I promise to do everything in my power to protect this city.
I promise.
That's it.
Like, did you guys miss this game? Did you not pay attention to the opening cutscene? What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh man, it's just a lot to say, but I'm gonna let the other people speak for themselves.
So it's gonna be Miles who fights Green Goblin, huh?
No, I'm pretty sure after Peter stops putting a baby inside of Mary Jane, which is probably like 9 months deep, he'll be back out there on the field doing recon, helping out Miles because he cares about him. This feels like a kinship, like two brothers, and they care for each other. And Miles has finally learned the power of responsibility and protection, so he feels confident this time, as opposed to how he was in Miles Morales, where he was still green, on patrol, working with Peter Parker. It's common sense to fucking understand, man.
I was wondering why they were killing off his rogues gallery. Because they're
That's not why they did it.
looking to introduce...
They wanted to make Kraven strong. They wanted to make him a strong, big bad. Therefore, that's why they killed some of these characters, you know, Sinister Six, off screen. That's it.
What, Miles Rogues Gallery?
Well, they might introduce like more of those people. I mean, they weren't ashamed to introduce new antagonists in Spider-Man PS4, like Martin Lee. That was a boss fight, and it was a boss fight in Spider-Man 2 with Miles.
I hate you, Insomniac. I fucking hate you. I hate everyone at Insomniac.
But you know, it's perfectly fine for the amazing Lucas to hold this standpoint and viewpoint and overall opinion on the game, because he's not white. Because if you're white and you don't like the idea of Miles Morales replacing Spider-Man after 1.5 games, then you're nothing more than a hateful, racist bigot.
You fucking crackers are some of the worst fucking people on God's green earth.
Well, to go into this point, Jesus Christ. So I will agree that Amazing Lucas is definitely displaying racial tendencies against white people, which is, you know, two wrongs don't make it right. Yet, at the same time, I wouldn't say that some of these people that dislike Miles Morales aren't racist, and I will definitely show that as the video progresses.
I swear to God, you guys are like a fucking disease. You're a fucking cancer on this goddamn planet. If you are white right now, and you're going through shit, you caused it.
What the fuck? You what? Oh my god. Man, well, as I said, it's a kill shot. It not only makes the Amazing Lucas look bad, but it also is making Griffin Gaming look like shit with his shallow arguments and unearthing the fact that Amazing Lucas went on a lot of unhinged tirades. So, two birds, one stone.
You did it. You got no one else. You fucking did it.
Someone subbed after that. I just find that fucking hilarious.
These mofos, if you are going through any problem right now, you created that shit. How the fuck are you gonna have laws protecting you and still be poor? Bitch,
What?
if you're a poor white person, you should be a fucking ashamed of yourself.
It's not like people that are white are also not, you know, living in poverty as well. I mean, I'm not like making any sort of implication when I say this, but I have seen this before. It's not like some people are always upper class. It's not like there aren't people that live in trailer parks. It's not like all forms of people, whether they are rich or poor or snobby or not, or, you know, they have a vendetta against other people and societies. It's not like they all don't exist, because they definitely do. There's differing people under differing umbrellas. And for you to go on this tirade is pretty fucked up, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is the one where Griffin has the W over you. So let's continue. It's like a clown death match. I'm watching it unfold in real time.
You should be ashamed of yourself. If you're poor and white, you should be fucking disgusted with yourself.
Bruh, what is with all these weird implications? Jeez. Jesus. This is bad.
You're all hateful, fucking racist bigots.
Now, it is almost impossible to ignore the irony and just insane levels of rules for thee but not for me surrounding this particular individual. But on top of that, if you want even more context, go look up the drama surrounding the amazing Lucas and Officer Tatum. This guy is an insane political grifter and uses racial politics to get easy views. He used to be a
I mean, he is a grifter. He is a racial grifter, but you are also an anti-woke grifter that will scream that word 5,000 times, and you clearly know it's for the ad revenue. So both of you, differing sides of the flipping coin. Like no one is radically different from the other, except that Amazing Lucas is probably a little bit more crazier. So I retract that one a little bit, but you're more insufferable, so you know it can kind of put that coin right back in the alley, because man, it's like you both make these vast dumbass assumptions on people, and it needs to stop. That's what I feel.
huge MAGA guy back in like the 2016 to 2019 era. Then he switched up to being pro BLM when that entire thing went down. And, you know, he just kind of bounces all over the place nowadays. And it's
All right, I'm gonna have to defend Lucas here. People do change their minds, like and they change their politics, and it's quite common. Like it's something that people do, and I mean, it's something that Triple H said about CM Punk. Sometimes you're not the same person 10 years ago. It just is what it is. Now, granted, CM Punk has been getting into fights in AEW, and that's been fairly recent, but we're not going to go there. But still, when he was in WWE, he might not be completely the same as he used to be, and if he fucks up over there, they'll kick the shit out of him, but I digress. Still, though, sometimes people change. They do. And has he changed for the better? Well, according to all these unhinged videos, not really, but it happens. You just got to deal with it. It's a fact of life.
hard to really take someone that inconsistent seriously.
Oh, like you? we're not even to the best part yet, and we're barely like 4 minutes in.
But overall, man, that's what makes the Amazing Lucas so entertaining, is you really never know what you're going to experience when you click on one of his videos. And, well, I feel like that definitely holds true for the one we're going to be watching today. So I think without further ado, man, sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, grab a drink, buckle up those brain cells, and let's get this shit started.
Oh my goodness. So if you haven't heard, well, you're in luck, because the internet is ablaze right now, okay? People are losing their minds. And when I mean people, I mean predominantly white, racist, incel, neckbeard people.
You fucking crackers are some of the worst fucking people on God's green earth.
Those are the people that are going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs right now. And you wanna know the reason why? Is because that Insomniac has said that Miles Morales is gonna be the main Spider-Man in their universe.
Don't do it, bro. Don't make Miles Spider-Man, bro. Don't do it, gang.
That's correct. Miles Morales, the main Spider-Man within the Insomniac universe. And boy, oh boy, these mofos are losing it.
I hate you, Insomniac. I fucking hate you. I hate everyone at Insomniac.
Now, I just want to add, Lucas definitely contradicted himself there. That's I'm not disagreeing with that at all. That's being caught live in 4K.
They're going crazy, bruh. They're going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I saw a few people tweet, this is the best one I've seen, is Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Miles Morales is Miles Morales. I'm sorry, what the hell does that mean?
Don't make Miles Spider-Man, bro. Don't do it, gang. Don't say, hey, this man's giving up. He's retiring. He wants to settle down. Don't do it, bro. Like, Miles, you got this, bro. Don't do it, fam. Don't do it. Don't you fucking do it.
Can you tell me what that means? That's like saying Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Miguel O'Hara is Miguel O'Hara. Like, what? what? It's crazy because they have so much hatred in their hearts that they start just speaking drivel. You have all these racists, all these neckbeards, these incels who are losing it. They are going insane, and it's really, I'm kind of scared right now. I'm genuinely scared because I don't know what they're capable of.
Now, you may have noticed we made it 2 minutes into Lucas's video, and I didn't have to say a word to refute a single thing he's been saying this entire time because, you know, as the great Obi-Wan once said,
"You have done that yourself."
You know, it's always a good sign when you can refute someone's video by using clips from another one of their videos that directly contradict every single point they're trying to make, and this is definitely going to be one of those cases. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to add some commentary here and there because nobody wants to hear Lucas repeat himself over and over and over again, but quite literally, I probably could do the rest of this video in that previous style that I did for the past 2 minutes of his video because, you know, the dude just contradicts himself at every given opportunity, and
He did. I agree with that formally. He did contradict himself. Oh, Miles shouldn't be the main Spider-Man. Don't do it. And then he was like, well, if you don't like this, that, and the third, then it's clearly coming from the white incel territory. But there is a twist. Keep talking. There is a twist about this.
now we're supposed to believe that he's in fear for his life of the spider simps, bro. He's afraid of what they might do. So, you know, let's go ahead and find out what exactly he's afraid of.
Well, actually, we do know what they're capable of.
What the fuck? He really put some riots in his videos? Whoa, bro. That's a little bit too much now. How do you correlate a political riot with the idea of Miles Morales and people having these weird constructs behind them? That's radical as fuck, I gotta say.
So,
dude, I've already watched this fucking video and it's still just as funny watching this shit again. Oh my god, bro.
That's crazy, man.
Wait, let's just keep it going, guys. Let's just keep... I don't even need to try to explain how fucking stupid that shit is. But hold on, real quick. Like, I guess I can appreciate the irony, too, because Lucas used to be a Trump supporter, and he's also a huge Spider-Man fan, and he wasn't happy about Miles replacing Spider-Man, if he's being honest. So
both of you dudes are so erroneous. And I guess if I highlight on a point here, Lucas is right about something. He's right about something. What does it mean when people say that Miles Morales is Miles Morales? That it's not worthy of the Miles Morales character sharing a mantle with Spider-Man. It's not worthy of what we said and established ages ago, where if someone has a mantle and they die, there are chances where they become that character. Damian Wayne becomes Batman in certain stories. Terry McGinnis becomes Batman in Batman Beyond. No one ever said Damian Wayne is Damian Wayne. Sometimes they say, okay, yeah, we associate him with Robin. We understand that. And Robin is even a mantle, like, spread out with multiple characters taking that role. So you have some OCs and you have some original mantles being taken over by differing people. Nobody ever says stuff like this for DC. So why is it always projected at Miles? I've seen Neurotic complain and say that Miguel O'Hara should become Spider-Man, or he is Spider-Man, and he's more worthy of that mantle outside of Miles Morales. And you know, while Miles Morales is an Afro-Latino, they do know that Miguel O'Hara is also a minority Spider-Man. Therefore, what kind of thing are you saying when you say Miles Morales is Miles Morales, but this other character who is a minority character is Spider-Man? Oh, truly, it makes no sense, and I know you're going to find a way to try to make it make sense, and it just turns out being a whole load of fluff and bullshit.
So, is he speaking from experience what he would have done in a similar situation?
Make sure you say locked and loaded, because you never know. They may do a January 6th, but it may be on Insomniac Game Studios.
Bruh, why would he even say that? Why would he try to will that into existence? It's like those people that wanted Joker in the movie theaters following that preceding day to become a shooting gallery because the media didn't like the movie. Are you insane? You are actually a nutball. I'm serious. In this context of how he makes you, look where you want shootings to occur to other people over a fucking video game, you need psychiatric evaluation ASAP. Like, holy shit. This is not a joke. This is not a troll. What he said was the most condemnable thing I ever fucking heard in the past 10 years. And that's saying something.
I hope Insomniac has upped their security, all right? I hope Brian Endahar, bruh, get you some security, okay? Because these mofos is wild.
No, that's... No. Please don't. Stop. Jesus Christ.
They crazy, okay? I don't want, God forbid something happened to you, and we see it on the news, and it's like, Spider-Man 3 has been postponed or delayed. We don't want that to happen, okay? So I want y'all.
Oh my god, this is awful. Yeah, that's awful on Lucas's behalf. Jesus.
To boost your security.
Nah, dude, Spider-Man told me to repeal the Second Amendment. Who needs guns when you have compliments?
Less guns, more compliments.
Now, this is where I start to get into Lucas. Motherfucker, Spider-Man is a quipster, a jokester character. It's like, oh well, they want to take away our guns because Spider-Man decided to make a few senseless jokes in our direction. Oh, they hate guns. Spider-Man's always been a goofball. This motherfucker has a taunt button in Spider-Man PS4 for a reason. So of course he will say, less guns, more compliments, like a smartass, to piss people off, to annoy them, to get under their skin. Understand the context of what Spider-Man actually does with his dumbass, goofy jokes, and across almost every form of media, even saying someone, had an outfit for their husband. It's like, I don't know, you both pick weird things to get really upset about, and I think that's the problem, like, just on opposite sides of the coin. Let's continue.
I just find it absolutely hilarious because let's break this down. How many games do we have of Peter Parker, bro?
I mean, I hate to use another one of his clips, man, but it's way too fitting.
The man had one game.
I guess to be fair in this context, he's referring to this universe Peter Parker and not all the other ones, but I just a little bit of a slight there, because it's like, while I agree that I wouldn't mind a more diverse Spider-Man coming into the picture and having their own games, like what they did with Edge of Time's Shattered Dimensions, where there's like different dimensional Spider-Mans coming in. That's like kind of unique in a sense because we don't see games like that. I will also say that if he's talking about this universe Peter Parker and trying to see his story and trilogy complete, I kind of get where he's coming from, where he's like, he has the general misconception, oh, this is his one game, this is his second game or whatever. He's coming in and now he's not going to be a main character of the third one, just humoring him for a bit, even though I think he's completely fucking wrong. And both of you with this whole Spider-Man replacement theory is absolutely cheeks. So yeah, I kind of get it, but I kind of don't, because it's so erroneous and inept that it doesn't make any sense when you really think about it. A break is not a retirement. Time to use your brain cells because they're not working too properly if you really can't understand separation between the two. Separation anxiety, baby. That's how it goes.
How many games do we have of this man?
The man had one game.
If we go all the way back to the PS1 to currently, how many games? We include mobile games, bro. We have a plethora of Peter Parker games.
Well, we're talking about the Insomniac Spider-Man series here. What other developers do with their own Spider-Man universes is not relevant to Insomniac because Insomniac already said they're not following the comic books, movies, or any other established Spider-Man storyline. And on top,
Yeah, but I mean, Peter he is the main Spider-Man and all those other continuities. It is what it is. So in that context, yes, but Somniac context, it is Peter Parker and Miles Morales now, and both of those characters are built up to a degree, and I assume there's going to be a third with Cindy Moon, so they're giving you a lot of diverse characters in this series as is to play around with and tinker. Also, you can play with Venom. I'm sure he's getting a DLC. I'm sure, you know, Marvel's Venom, he's coming. Lethal Protector, he's coming. Therefore, I guess to have that sort of slight to this game is kind of weird. And once again, the misunderstanding of breaking retirement in the first place, which both of you seem to struggle with that.
top of that, when a lot of those Spider-Man games were coming out, Miles Morales wasn't even a fucking idea at that point, because Miles Morales was created in 2010 by this guy who basically wanted to create the Barack Obama of Spider-Man. And no, I'm not fucking kidding. You can look that shit up.
All right? There is nothing wrong with giving the mantle to Miles Morales.
Don't make Miles Spider-Man, bro. Don't do it, gang. Don't say, hey, this man's giving up. He's retiring. He wants to settle down. Don't do it, bro. Like, Miles,
he keeps playing this clip
Don't
ad nauseum. It's just
as, you know,
good
Batman
God.
and everyone else has given the mantle to other individuals to carry it on, to carry on the legacy. Do you want to know why? Because they get old and they die. That's what happens.
Yes, Spider-Man at the ripe age of 25 is literally on his fucking deathbed in the retirement home. I mean, shit, as someone who's also 25, I could definitely understand.
Now, I understand.
Hold
I
on.
understand individuals to carry it on, to carry on the legacy. Do you want to know why?
Don't do it, bro. Like, Miles,
Hold on.
you got this, bro.
Just listen.
Don't do it, fam. Don't do it.
Just as, you know, Batman and everyone else has given the mantle to other individuals to carry it on, to carry on the legacy. Do you want to know why? Because they get old and they die. That's what happens.
Yes, Spider-Man at the ripe age of 25 is literally on his fucking deathbed in the retirement home. I mean, shit, as someone who's also 25, I could definitely understand.
All right. So, this is quite funny. Spider-Man's not dead yet. We understand this, right? We get this. But that's if Spider-Man dies. Like, think of it as a hypothetical. If Spider-Man dies, that means that Miles Morales is definitely the main Spider-Man if Peter kicks the bucket. So, Lucas is not necessarily wrong with the idea of a character passing their legacy and mantle to someone else. Again, that's why, again, they both share the mantle of Spider-Man. Is not condescending to either or. But if Peter Parker dies, Miles Morales is the only friendly neighborhood Spider-Man to protect New York, along with probably Silk. Very easy to understand, very easy to comprehend. I don't know why you guys don't get it, but that's weird. Well, at least guys in your camp, because I agree with Lucas there.
Now, I understand. Peter is not old in this game. But here's the thing. Let me just break this down to you. This is something that I had to deal with. I had to struggle and get over. And that is This is Insomniac's universe.
So why did you just use other storylines as an example of why it's perfectly fine? You can't have it both ways. If you want to look at this game as an independent storyline, don't use other storylines as precedent for why it's acceptable.
What is he wrong about? This is Insomniac's universe. If they want to have multiple Spider-Men or Spider-Women, they are more than inclined to do so. And again, the comparison makes sense. If Peter Parker is dead, he is not the main Spider-Man anymore. He's in the ground. He's 6 feet under. So, while in tandem with Miles Morales, teaching him and protecting the city and living out the duty of great power comes with great responsibility, yes, they both are Spider-Man equally at the same time. But Miles is a protege to Peter Parker, and Peter Parker is the teacher. If the teacher dies, the student will live on to become and do greater things. It's that simple.
That is correct. This is Insomniac's Spider-Man. This is Insomniac's Mary Jane. This is Insomniac's Miles Morales. I may not like how they portray Peter Parker. I may not like how they portray Mary Jane. I may not like how they do Miles Morales. I may not like the combat. I may not like the side missions, but at the end of the day, this is their game. This is their vision. This is what they have put out. And at the end of the day, you can either accept that or not accept that.
Well, I actually 100% agree with that fact, Lucas, but just because you don't accept it doesn't mean you're fucking racist.
And if you accept it, well then...
Look. I ain't gonna lie. Like I said, I'm gonna get right into it. Let's get right into it now. Are there some people who are hung up over Miles Morales being black, and does it come off as racist? I'm gonna pause this video right quick, and I'm gonna let you guys find out with some proof. Now, not only do you have the anti-woke people who like to jump on this and jump on this whole rhetoric of Miles Morales is Miles Morales, I think it was somewhere stated that Griffin Gaming said there's no people in his eyes that really complain about Miles being black, or mentions the fact that Miles is black. Just a lot of this weird suspended disbelief. I don't know what world he lives in, but you got this guy saying, I like the Miles Morales character 1000% more if he wasn't just the black Spider-Man. It has always felt gimmicky and lazy. Same way I never understood Miles Morales. They should stop blacking white characters so as to appeal to a group of people. There's no need for a black James Bond or Peter Parker. Soon we will have a black John Wick and Cinderella, if they are not yet in development. And then you have this guy, which is the most extreme case, saying that Miles Morales is not Spider-Man, Sam Wilson is not Cap, John Stewart is not Green Lantern. I do not like black people. You can see with this post here, Griffin, that there is definitely people that complain about Miles, and there is examples of them being racist about him live in 4K on the Trashfire website known as X. You can find it anywhere if you look hard enough. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean that this racism does not exist. It definitely does. Let's get back to the video. All right, let's go.
Then, hey, join the ride. Welcome to the club. And if you don't accept it, then go off. Bye. Go somewhere. I don't know what to tell you. These dregs of society, what they end up doing is that they're just attention seekers, bro. They're constantly attention seekers.
Dude, the irony that a YouTuber, and much less the amazing Lucas himself, has the nerve and audacity to call other people attention seekers is beyond fucking gold. Holy shit, man. Have an ounce of self-awareness. You wouldn't upload a single video of yourself on the internet if you weren't seeking attention in the first place. Once again, it's another amazing example from our boy Lucas of rules for thee, but not for me.
Rules for thee, but not for me. That sounds familiar. You know, Griffin, remember when you said that people were poor because they couldn't afford a GTX or RTX, whatever the fuck, RTX 490 card, and you admitted you took the L right here, but you claim to say people were poor for not being able to afford it. You know, I know you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, right? I mean, it's fine, right? Rich kid, right? You know, what people massively jumped on you for, rules for thee, but not for me. Seems like you have quite the experience with that, don't you?
They have to cry and scream on their way to the exit. And it's like, yo, we don't care, bro. We don't care. They're just like, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. This is wokety, wokety, woke, woke, woke. Okay? I'm leaving. And it's like, bro, you don't have to tell us. Just leave, right? Just you don't have to tell us you're not buying the game.
I agree. Like, fucking, some people want to be included so bad in these circles. Like, I'm leaving. I'm done. I'm condemning you. I'm calling you a Zionist. I'm calling you this, that, this label, that, because you want to buy a game. And it's like, all right, leave. Go. Goodbye. See you around the corner. Get the fuck out of here. That's how I feel. I feel the same way. You can call me 8,000 names, but guess what? If I'm invested into that motherfucker, I will be there day one to get what I want because it's my need. It's not yours. You know that song by, I think it was from Rocco? You know, you do you, I'ma do me. I believe what he's saying. That's true. Real shit. Not all the crazy radicalism that Lucas has said in the past I agree with, but for this point, yeah, he's got a point. If you're so determined to boycott something, just go. Don't give them your money, you're good. I see, when I think of fake boycotting, I think of people who constantly drone on about the subject constantly anyway, from launch till now, till after launch, years and years later, and then if I see them playing the game, testing it out, somehow they bought it, it's like, what happened to the boycotts? What happened to burying said subject? Get woke, go broke. They aren't going broke because you also contributed as well to the factor. So what is the point of this whole boycott? I don't understand that. Right? When I don't like something, I just simply don't buy it. I give no money. I give nothing. I give nothing. When I don't want something, I don't get it. It's the same for all the constant Call of Duties. I'm personally done with Call of Duty for now. It's nothing that enticed me since Modern Warfare 2019, and that has been evident for a long time now. That's a real fucking boycott.
Just don't buy the game. I don't know what to tell you. It's just these wokety woke types are so nauseating. Because I'm like, bro, it's 2023. I get it when it's 2016, right? I get it, when that's popular and stuff right now. That's not popular right now.
So if you're up to date on your lore surrounding the amazing Lucas, this particular statement is extremely hypocritical and really shows his true nature, because he's literally admitting that in the past, back in that 2016 era, he engaged in that exact same content, and now we know the actual motivation for that. It was to grift, man. You know, back when it was popular, he was hopping on that hype train, milking it for views as the unprincipled individual that he is. So I think this is a lot more damning to him than he thinks it is towards other people, because when you consider his background, which he's made sure to scrub from his channel entirely, he falls into this exact particular category and is speaking from experience around that time frame because he used to engage in that exact type of content.
I mean, both of you do politics, so it's just a thing that you do, right? It's just something that you both do. Like, you both are technically talking about politics in gaming a lot. Whether that extreme varies, whether the pendulum swings left and right, both of you are guilty over the subject. So this is like, I don't know, it's like two cats fighting in paint, and one is mad at the other one because he's painted in blue, the same color that he's painting into. It's like, you both do the same stuff. Really, it's like you can't really call him on that because Griffin, right now, you are a political channel. You're a political gaming channel, and I'm sure you do it because of the ad revenue. I'm 99% positive because some of the stuff you said in this video has also been incorrect.
Okay? You're just grifting for nothing. It's not even a grift at this point. You just seem ignorant. You seem not only racist, but you seem bigoted at this point. What I've basically gathered is that when it comes to woke, first off, they bastardize a term. Secondly, the original definition of the term woke, they use it for negative. So basically, it's anything having to do with social issues regarding black people and LGBT.
I don't know, man, but I don't even feel like it's worth the time to genuinely argue this point because it's done in such bad faith, and he's overall just being so disingenuous, bro. Like, this is such a blatant oversimplification of the issue, and he fucking knows it, and I don't really even feel like it's worth the time to even, like, rebut it. It's just a complete disingenuous waste of everyone's fucking time and energy because that is basically what the amazing Lucas has to resort to these days to get any little bit of attention on his channel.
Which is what you do when you talk about, oh, everything's woke now. It's something that you scream 24/7. So once again, the guilt, whether each pendulum swings, whether it swings in the left direction or the right one, both of you cover politics. It's just common sense. Like, there's no running away from it. The evidence is there on y'all's channels. And I mean, people have bastardized the word woke. It means awake. Like, you are awake from corruption. You are awake from knowing that the government is fucking you over. You are awake and aware. That's what the original word means. And instead, people use it now because, well, there is woman or black or mixed or Asian on screen. That's bad. I'm going to make a video. Therefore, I don't think Lucas is incorrect that people have bastardized the term woke. They really have. It's just to point at minorities now or characters that don't fit into the paradigm of not being white, from what I noticed. Like, people do say that a lot. Where they want the gruff character now as opposed to a girl exists, and especially if she's done in a realistic context, girl exists, she's ugly, they're ruining it by putting in realistic characters, Western society, game is woke. It happens all the time. It's not being fucked by the government or any officials or anything, or being awake and aware to your environment at all. So yeah, he's right.
That's woke to them. I kid you not. It's just woke to them. And I want to say this. This is not to criticize the predominantly white, incel, neckbeard individuals. This is not to criticize.
He's really going in on white people. Holy cow, man. Not all white people are racist. Like, I have a lot of friends. I hate to sound like the stereotype, but I do have white friends that aren't racist whatsoever. So that's really weird to say. You know, are there coomers, gooners? Yeah, they do exist. They do, but again, he's aiming that gun very close. I would say the bullet has went over the generalization line by now. Like, God, that's just bad, man.
You fucking crackers are some of the worst fucking people on God's green earth.
I understand. I get where you're coming from, okay? I can sympathize with you. I really can. Because you have to understand, to them, they feel like they're losing everything.
In all honesty, man, I think this is him projecting about the current state of his YouTube career.
One character that these fragile individuals had was Spider-Man. White Spider-Man. That's the one thing they could sympathize with. Like, he's a nerd like me. That's the only thing they can sympathize because because Spider-Man, he had a crazy physique. He had a hot-ass bombshell girlfriend.
Maybe in past iterations, man, but definitely not in these Insomniac games. You know, Mewing John is not exactly the face of beauty.
And he had...
What? Mewing John? Now, hold on. I know that this is a slight at the face change or whatever, but I'm sure a lot of girls out there would find Ben Jordan to be a high value male, like, and they would sleep with this person. Like, there's no denying it. That's kind of how the pool of stuff happens in the real world. Like, the supermodel looking Spider-Man, equivalent to almost looking like Tom Holland, which is sure to have a value of girls on the internet lust over them. I'm sure just because you have a difference of opinion, and I don't know why you are paying that close attention to Mewing Johns, but again, I've seen women like this version of Spider-Man as well, meaning that either your social circles are very narrow or you don't really pay attention that much to what people say about the folks behind these faces or anything else, because their comments go wild for a reason. They lock them for a reason. There's a reason why the Leon face actor has his comments turned off. He doesn't want people to associate him with Resident Evil. He gets tired of that shit. There are girls that do stuff like this, and they do exist. I'm just saying, like, it is a common factor, and it's just something I wanted to point out, because I don't know why he's trying to allude that this version of Spider-Man wouldn't get a hot woman at all when he's had plenty, as well as the actor behind him.
At a job. Those are three things that none of these individuals,
and plus, isn't Spider-Man the nerd that still gets women anyway, regardless? Like, people thought he was skinny and a toothpick before he got his powers, and then when he got his powers, he was swimming in it simply because of confidence. And you know, when you have male confidence, you can bag bitches. That's kind of how it works, bruh.
Majority of them have.
Wait, I thought the whole gimmick about Spider-Man was like he never could keep like a stable job, and he like had to work freelance as a photographer and was always fucking broke. Like, maybe I'm wrong, dude. I'm not an expert on Spider-Man lore, but I thought that was like the whole gimmick, is like he was always struggling to keep work and balance being a superhero.
Okay.
And is not exactly.
Let me go back.
Crazy physique. He had a hot-ass bombshell girlfriend.
Maybe is not exactly the face of beauty.
Those are three things that none of these individuals, the vast majority of them, have.
Wait, I thought the whole gimmick about Spider-Man was like he never could keep like a stable job, and he like had to work freelance as a photographer and was always fucking broke. Like, maybe I'm wrong, dude. I'm not an expert on Spider-Man lore, but I thought that was like the whole gimmick, is like he was always struggling to keep work and balance being a superhero.
I don't know. Maybe he's also referring to the fact that there is the American epidemic of obesity, and the fact that not a lot of people, or at least you see the average person on the street all cut up like Spider-Man is. I mean, some people just, I mean, you probably would see the average Joe that looks like Spider-Man in appearance, but not all shredded like he is. If he said not all Americans are shredded like Spider-Man, then that's true. But Spider-Man is a person where it's like a duality, always broke, poor, struggling, like a basic human, 9 to 5. That's the relatable humanity of the duality of Spider-Man. Yes, that's a lot more relatable in that aspect, but can everybody look like Spider-Man? Possibly. Does everyone look like Spider-Man? No. From that aspect, that small, tiny little aspect, I agree. But everything else, Lucas is, I mean, this voyeurism of Spider-Man is quite weird coming from a Spider-Man fan.
Okay? So it ends and begins with him being white and him, I don't know, being broke. If you
Oh my fucking god. I had to get a drink. This is a complete clown show. One guy is delusional as fuck. The other guy is radical as fuck. It's like, oh man, it just goes on and on and on.
If you're a poor white person, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. If you're poor and white, you should be fucking disgusted with yourself.
That's where it ends And that's where it begins. That's where it starts and ends. Everything else is like, how do you identify with Spider-Man? I don't get it, bro.
Because Spider-Man could be basically a generic human living a 9-to-5, being broke, paycheck to paycheck, and deal with adversity and animosity and things that a normal human would deal with, like Peter Parker does. I think more people can relate to Spider-Man's life than anything else, really. You've probably been down that road more than once. So yeah, I mean, everyone has probably experienced any of those social issues that Spider-Man has. So I don't see why Amazing Lucas is trying to say otherwise.
They feel like everything's being ripped from them, okay? They're saying, hey, it's Black Panther. Why is there a black person on screen? Hey, why is this happening? Why are people now bringing up social issues that I don't agree with? What about me? What about me? And so you have to understand, they've been coddled for centuries. You have to understand this. They've been coddled for centuries.
Oh boy, guys, buckle in those brain cells because we're about to get a lecture on racial inequality from the amazing Lucas. And I find this really ironic, too, because I really have not seen many people complain about Miles being black. It's more so the fact that he's obnoxious and he literally sounds like fucking Urkel.
I haven't seen people complain about Miles being black. Miles Morales is not Spider-Man. Sam Wilson is not Cap. John Stewart is not Green Lantern. I do not like black people. See, there's always that someone out there. It's always, they exist. And this is carbon proof. They exist, dude. I don't know. Maybe you're not looking hard enough, but like, these people are out there, man. I don't know what to tell you. They are a real entity, and they have real racism behind them at times, which is why I don't just sweep it under the rug. I don't do that. Nuh-uh. Not me. Let's continue.
So when people start to, well, this is not what's supposed to happen. This is not, why are we doing this, right? We're just doing this due to tradition. Okay, let's stop that and actually see if we can improve things. Let's see if we can actually have a diverse, representation in some of our platforms.
You're acting like the standalone Spider-Man Miles Morales game doesn't already exist, dude. They could have literally just made a sequel to that and then kept Spider-Man as Peter Parker. But no, there's much more behind it than simply more representation. In fact, there's a certain diabetes fetus that, everybody should go to my channel and learn a little bit more about. That is directly responsible for a lot of these narrative choices.
Let's see if we can.
Did he say they should make a sequel to Spider-Man Miles Morales with no further explanation or context when the direct sequel to Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales is Spider-Man 2? So he's asking for a solo sequel for Miles Morales to be excluded in future Spider-Man games, or should they just go and do that and he does his thing and Peter is the main Spider-Man? He's not relying on the kinship, his brother, everything, his brother from another mother. And you want him to tackle New York without supplemental help? I know he's done it for like 8 years, but now he has assistance to where he can take the break, to where he can still be responsible in his home life and be responsible later, because Miles is the responsible one, sort of helping him out of a jam. I'm sure it'll be fine until Doc Ock and Norman Osborn team up, come on the scene, and they become a greater threat than Spider-Man has ever anticipated, hence why the need for 2 Spider-Men will be called forth again. I don't see why people have misinterpreted the statement of the ending where Peter is just taking a slight break as if he didn't do it before with Mary Jane. In fact, Miles Morales is a game you people have not played because fucking he takes a break with Mary Jane, does some investigative working, sort of like a vacation, in the video that I showed earlier in the video. So what is that? A couple of weeks off, right? This is probably like a month or two or something off. He takes that baby in, dangerous threat comes in, he comes in, handles it, goes back home. Why can nobody think that? Like, and then over the 9 months, which will probably pass, we'll see Peter's child, Mayday Parker, in the next game. It's not hard to comprehend, it's not hard to understand, and plus, we know Silk is going to be bitten with the radioactive spider, which is why they're introducing her in Spider-Man 2, so there's going to be 2 Spider-Men and Silk, you know, working together in tandem. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what the story is setting up. Peter has plenty of time to catch up on family ties.
Can actually, you know, engage in political discourse.
Yeah, because that's exactly what people want to do after they come home from a long day at work. They want to turn on their PlayStation 5 and get lectured to about politics.
I don't see what is the game lecturing you, like you're beating up criminals on the street and doing friendly neighborhood Spider-Man stuff, and he says civil discourse. So I mean, it's nothing wrong with a little bit of civil discourse, right? Especially if a story presents it. I know you like, oh, all games have escapism, including all the political games that I actually like, and they have deep political themes, but you know, and they tackle issues a lot deeper than what I described. But let's have the game lecture me because I can't take it. It's like, I don't know, so some people are such babies about this topic. Like, I am a fan of deep philosophical conversation. I don't deem that as lecturing or belittling if a game or a person presents that to me. It's got to be deep, smart, philosophical conversation, and if that is what it is, I engage in it. Because civil discourse. Now, if it's not, then of course I'm gonna say fuck you, suck my dick, and lick ass. But we're talking about something wholly different. I think it's fine to have games have a message, as well as people having a message that matters. I think that's what most common sense people would want. Of course, there is the immersion, escapism, and I feel like you gotta have a little bit of this, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, but I don't exclude what's in column A if it really speaks to me. There you have it.
And see if we can do that on games or different mediums, which has always been the case. If you look in comics, I mean, Captain America was punching Hitler, all right?
I don't know why these amazing Lucas types always default to this, like punching Hitler is some sort of controversial fucking issue, dude. When has it ever not been okay to say you want to punch Hitler, my guy? Like, I'm pretty sure that's one of the most lukewarm political, if you can even call it political, takes you can have.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to punch Hitler in the face, and they would. There's no contest there, so it being used in any sort of weaponization is quite weird, which I agree with.
They've always tackled difficult topics, right? Especially with the X-Men, whether it was Spider-Man, Superman, that's always been the case.
Yeah, and there's a very distinct difference of how that's done now versus back then. Back then, they had a little something called subtlety and nuance. Now it's all about shoving it down your throat at every given opportunity.
Saying the X-Men was an allegory for Civil War stuff, mutants being an allegory to racism, and that being a strong theme is subtlety? Like, hidden in the background subtlety, like, even though you plainly see it. You have one panel where one guy is being clearly discriminatory to Beast and X-Men. And that's like subtlety. I don't necessarily agree with that. You know, the X-Men is chock full of it, and you know motherfuckers are gonna say MCU X-Men is gonna be woke, even though X-Men has always been about social issues. So that's gonna be a weird argument when that comes out. I'm telling you now, that's gonna be strange. I think there is, of course, various ways that the social issues can be handled on the nuance aspect, but again, I don't think it's subtle, at least for X-Men. I think that's egregious as fuck when someone says that.
So when people would say, you know, politics, I notice certain things happen to deal with politics when it comes to these inbred types, right? If it's a black person, that's politics. If it's a white person, well, that's America. If it's a black person, that's politics. If it's, a white person, well, that's good gameplay.
And why were none of these arguments being made about the Spider-Man Miles Morales standalone game? Why is it that all this shit starts popping up and this becomes the discourse after Spider-Man 2, where they literally replace Spider-Man in his own fucking game, even though Miles already has his own standalone franchise?
Which is overall Spider-Man? I don't think he really thought that one out, did he, people? I think his brain shit the bed when he thought about that one. Insomniac Spider-Man universe, where Spider-Man Peter Parker is actually in it, but that's its own, like, sort of thing, right? Even though it takes place in the same universe, same characters, same sort of ideals, the Spider Swear. None of that stuff ever happened in Miles Morales. It's like, it's all a blur, right? Just because you have a separate character and his own identity does not mean that it takes place in some other plane of existence just because he had a spin-off game. That's fucking dumb. Like that logic itself, if that were me, imagine if that were me and I said something like, oh, if they made a DLC for Venom and they called it Marvel's Venom after playing with him in Spider-Man 2, I guess he just has his own spin-off where he doesn't matter as a character. He can do whatever he wants. It's not tied to the overall story that they set up in the previous games, even though we see previous villains, characters, and other people show up. What are you actually talking about? Like, it is a pseudo-sequel to Spider-Man on PS4. That's how that DLC is. It's like a standalone, I shouldn't say DLC. It's like a standalone expansion pack. Use the real terminology here. I hate it too, but still. Standalone expansion still takes place in the same continuity. Like, it's a true sequel. And I'm sure there were people complaining about Miles Morales back then. Again, there are people racist about this character, as we can plainly see in front of the screen. I'm sorry, they exist. I'm gonna keep homing in that point.
Do you not see the issue here? It doesn't have to do with the fucking color of the character's skin. It has to do with the shitty fucking writing and story in this game.
That's great storytelling.
I would love to hear him elaborate on how the entire story is like shit, and how I do not like black people. They don't exist.
It's just, I just find the hypocrisy, it's hilarious to me. It's honestly hilarious to me. But you have to understand there's a victim complex that these kids are being fed. They are being fed to be victims. And it's really sad to see, because that's where this whole, well, this is anti-white. This is where the whole, well, that's not diversity. You just mean it's anti-white. No, that's not what that means. That means in addition to white. In addition to white. That's a notion that many of them have never had to, to take in.
Now we're getting a lecture in children's psychology from the amazing Lucas. This is truly insightful shit, man. I feel like my mind is truly opening up at this point. But, let's say all things equal, Miles is also white, same with Peter, and Miles is still objectively the worst character. He's literally a Mary Sue in this storyline.
Huh? Miles is a Mary Sue? Even after he was captured and his vengeance almost got people killed because he went after Martin Lee when Peter was like pleading, don't do it. So he almost made one of the biggest mistakes of his life as a Spider-Man, a Mary Sue? I don't think you paid too much attention to this game. I think you're bullshitting. That's what I think you're bullshitting to. Mary Sue is usually, or Gary Stu in this case, because, Gary Stu is the male version, Mary Sue is the female. But the Gary Stu is usually a perfectionist. They could do no wrong. They could do no wrongdoing whatsoever. And we've seen Miles struggle in this game. Now, would we, if we really tally it up, is Miles like a diminished role compared to Peter? I would say yes. Yes, that's true. It's not a lot of main story Miles Morales missions, but to say he's a Murray suit is absolutely wrong. It's not candid or sincere.
Line. He's obnoxious. His voice actor is terrible. He literally
His voice acting, dude, you sound like fucking Leafy from his YouTube channel where he's inhaling like 9 peanuts a day. Like, I don't know. How about you try to do voice acting as Peter Parker? I bet it'd be like absolutely terrible. You know, just being sarcastic, by the way, but still, no, I don't think the actor is terrible at all. I disagree with all of this. It's even the story aspect he got wrong, so clearly he's not paying attention.
sounds like Urkel, and he's a complete fucking dweeb. So honestly, I just really
So are you talking about yourself in third person? I mean, it's only talk about projection game, but you do a lot of it, and you also suck at RE4.
don't like the dude as a character. He is terribly written.
Or you just gave terrible talking points because they're in bad faith, and you don't understand that Miles got captured by Kraven's men. Somehow that's a Gary Stu that saves the day and does everything, when Peter was the one going in there to save him.
I mean, let me pull the "but I have black friends, so I can't be racist" card. I mean, one of my personal favorite games of all time, Prototype 2, did a race swap on the main character.
What? A race swap on the main character, or they just simply said, we have Alex Mercer, who is the protagonist of the first game, now turned antagonist of the second, and we have James Heller, who is the new protagonist of Prototype 2. It's like, you know, regardless of what you think about Prototype 2, that's sort of what they did with the way I described it, and that's nothing new in the media. It doesn't stop at black characters. We've seen antagonists turn into protagonists, and protagonists turn into antagonists within sequels. It's common sense. Like, fuck, man. How do people miss this point? I don't understand. I don't get it. It's such simple writing, such simple devices, yet people get the concept wrong every time. That's not a race swap. A race swap is when you take a previously established character and you turn them a different color. For no reason. Out of the thin blue in the next game. And that's not what happened to Alex Mercer. Did you play Prototype 2? I don't think you did.
In the first game, you play as Alex Mercer, who's white, and then in the next game, you play as James Heller, who's a black guy, and you literally kill Alex Mercer in that game, but over...
You do, yes, and I'm not really a fan of that. I don't like that. That's the way that Prototype 2 ended, but you still have Alex Mercer in its entirety in that game. They just changed his motivation, which is subject to whatever you think about it. But James Heller is, outside of having the same powers because Mercer infected Heller, you're still a new person, an entirely different person. Heller comes from the military, and he believes that Mercer killed his family, so he goes after him. He still has his own story arc and motivation. Come on now.
Overall, I thought it was done perfectly fine, and I liked Heller better as a character over Alex Mercer, so...
Okay, then. So what are you complaining about?
This is just such a massive cop-out, and it's very common for the racial grifting types like the amazing Lucas to engage in.
Dana, it's me. Listen, I know who has Maya. Some asshole named Griffin. He's a government agent of some kind.
Because it's always been their way or
That's just funny. I'm sorry. I have to chime in on it. That's just hilarious.
the highway. So now you have other individuals, other white individuals who are saying, well, let's not do it that way. Let's bring everyone else in and see what their opinions are. Let's see if we can get a different perspective that can enrich this game, or can enrich this movie, or can enrich this storytelling. And then, of course, you have those who are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, where they're just going off on the deep end, where no one wants to see what they produce. But they try to conflate those two. They try and conflate the cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs with the people who generally want change for the better of the country and for the better of society.
And you think replacing Peter Parker with Miles Morales in a PlayStation Spider-Man game is the way to go about that? I mean, talk about being fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Holy shit, man.
I think you just really don't understand the word break or retirement. That's it. That's all there is to that. The same regurgitated talking point over and over again about how Peter is being replaced when the big setup, the big linchpin in the story for the next Spider-Man game is going to be both people. Well, one of them knows who Peter Parker is as Spider-Man, Doc Ock, revealing that he's working on the final chapter, and he probably will tell Norman Osborn who hurt his son, which is, you know, he blames Spider-Man, so Spider-Man's identity is going to be out there in the public to more people and is going to get really bad. And guess who that Spider-Man is? Peter Parker. So shut up about all this replacement theory bullcrap, because in order for the plot of the next game to work, you have to use Peter Parker, because I don't think Norman knows who Miles is. I don't think so, at least. And in either way it goes, like, that's a big danger to the duality of Spider-Man finding out that secret identity. There's no way they're not going to use Pete. And I want to show you something really quickly. I want to show you something really damning to their arguments right here about break and replacements on Peter Parker. This is Brian Ithahar. He is the senior creative director at Insomniac Games. When these rumors were rolling about with the fact that they're killing off Peter or they're replacing him or whatnot, Insomniac and, you know, James Stevenson, Brian Ithahar, they tweeted these GIFs where it says, "Jump to conclusions." At the same time, these articles and rumors cropped up. Ithahar agreed, meaning that people like you are jumping to conclusions on this whole topic of replacements and replacement theories for Peter Parker. The devs are straight telling you you're wrong. And this is what grifters like Grifter Gaming and Amazing Lucas does. They run in the same ballpark, opposite directions, and they're both so wrong. Let's continue.
But you have to understand that's what they feel. So when they see Spider-Man, right, being, you know, the mantle being given to Miles, they feel like they're losing it. They feel like, hey, I'm losing my power on reality. I'm losing. This is no longer a white Spider-Man.
Dude, this is fucking great. Like, I'm trying really hard to keep myself together at this point. Like, even listening to this back, and I've already watched this a couple times at this point, but oh my god, dude, talk about unnecessarily analyzing a situation to the extreme.
Okay, I can't identify with Miles Morales. And it's honestly hysterical because it goes back to, like, well, how do you think, you know, little black Lucas felt? Right? How do you think other black kids felt? How do you?
I'm just gonna chime in real quick. I don't think that all white people hate Miles. I think there is white fans of Miles Morales. And this is just examples of gross generalizing 101. Are there people on the other spectrum? Yes, they are. Are there people that also love the character? Yes. So, is it a very extreme talking point? Yes, I agree.
How do you think non-white people felt constantly being bombarded with a plethora of white superheroes?
See, this is why I can't take any of these cape shit people seriously, man. Your worth as a human being is determined by whether or not a superhero in a comic book has the same skin color as you. And plus, Lucas, you grew up in, like, the 1990s, not the fucking 1790s.
There were black.
Well, I mean, I slightly disagree with that. I think it is fine for someone to see themselves through a superhero. I mean, that's kind of what Spider-Man has intentionally been about. Spider-Man can be everyone, according to the great Stan Lee, the guy who made the fucking character. So anyone can be Spider-Man. I'm sure someone can view and look through Spider-Man and say, I'm influenced by that. I love his ideals. I like the ideals of responsibility, the skin color as well. You know, so some people might relate to Miles Morales a lot because of the way he is. Same for Peter Parker. I find no problem with either or.
Superheroes, but they weren't given the spotlight. There were black actors, but they weren't given the roles. There were black artists, but they weren't given as far as the opportunities.
That is beyond objectively false, and I don't even feel like I need to justify that shit. Let's just keep going.
How ignorant and how...
I mean, it's probably some people that lost out on roles. I'm not gonna say it's impossible, so let's continue on.
How selfish they can be, because once again, they've been coddled. I never saw as far as Spider-Man as white Spider-Man. I thought his character, because a lot of the issues he was going through, I was going through, and I identified with that.
So basically what you're saying is his racial identity has nothing to do with his relatability, and the entire point of this video was literally for you to just impression farm off of racial topics. Got it, dude. You know, another par for the course grifting video from the amazing Lucas.
Wait a minute. Let's go back real quick. Real quick.
Like I need to justify that shit. Let's just keep going.
How ignorant and how selfish they can be, because once again, they've been coddled. I never saw as far as Spider-Man as white Spider-Man. I thought his character, because a lot of the issues he was going through, I was going through, and I identified with that.
So basically what you're saying is his racial identity has nothing to do with his relatability, and the entire point of this video was literally for you to just impression farm off of racial topics. Got it, dude. You know, another par for the course grifting video from the amazing Lucas.
Yeah, when he throws in the philosophy of Spider-Man and relating to it, I can see multiple people agreeing with that, but the hate on Caucasians and stereotyping and generalizing, I mean, like I said, there are racist people. Does that mean everyone is racist? Absolutely not.
But you leave it to these incels, you leave it to these neckbeards, these racists.
Fucking crackers are some of the worst fucking people in
Oh my god!
That's what they identify with. It's not his powers or anything like that, because that's not, they don't have powers in the real world. They're usually broke, they're usually underweight or overweight. That's what, so the only thing they can identify is with his whiteness. They're like, hey, he's white, I'm white. That's awesome.
Dude, I don't even know what the point of this video is at this point. Like, he is running in so many different logical circles. It's absolutely incredible, just contradicting himself at every single opportunity. Like, apparently he can look at Spider-Man through a completely unique perspective that literally everyone with white skin is incapable of doing.
Great. But that's why it's such a superficial bonding that many of them have, that it's also a reflection of the arguments that they present. Because it's just like, you ask them actual questions, why do you believe that? It just boils down to, well, he's black. And it's like, what?
Yeah, personally, as someone who's covered this topic extensively, I have not seen people just defaulting to that as their one gripe with it. I mean, sure, if you want to pick out the crazies in the bunch, sure, you can probably make that case, but I don't know why you're painting as wide of a canvas as you are with this super fucking niche argument that only applies to maybe a fraction of the overall people complaining about the narrative decisions in Spider-Man 2, yourself included, Lucas. So does that make you a racist?
So, I hate to tell you this, but a demographic is a demographic. Therefore, if there is an entire pie chart of people who are either complaining about Miles being black, or there's a demographic that isn't complaining about that whatsoever, it's still part of the talking points we see in the community, which is something I wouldn't exclude, even if you think it's niche. It is being talked about that Miles Morales is not Miles Morales. I mean, Miles Morales is not Spider-Man. I'm sorry, that'd be crazy if people said Miles Morales. He's not even himself. But I wouldn't be surprised if someone really and readily thinks about that and they say that, like, because when their question on Miles Morales is Miles Morales, usually 9 times out of 10 is either they think that the spotlight is being taken away from Peter Parker or because of his heritage. Miles has gotten better in a lot of community media for Spider-Man. He's clearly progressed as a character from when Bendis was writing him. Into the Spider-Verse was great. The game's fun, enjoyable, great with the character, great with utilizing him. Would I have wanted to see more of him in action in Spider-Man 2? But then he's a fraction of that game, so you really have to think about it. Like, what makes him bad? What makes him terrible? He motivates Peter. He puts him on his feet when he's the most conflicted with the symbiote, and that's his role in the story, is to once again save Peter Parker, to save this guy. So he is just as important, and I see that to be very touching. I don't know what's really bad about it. But let's continue.
That's the only issue you have. So I bond with Peter Parker just as much as I can bond with Miles Morales. But you have to understand there's an audience that can't do that. There's an audience that sees that barrier because of the color of that person's skin. They see that as, this is political. There's an agenda behind it. They use a whole bunch of ambiguous terms.
Those folks exist. Before Griffin starts talking, they do exist. So let's see what he says.
Again, check my channel for a certain video I recently uploaded, and you'll see that there is a legitimate agenda behind this, but I'm not going to go into too many details in this video about that because it seems to be a very touchy topic on YouTube these days.
Or it's a topic that you can grift off and make extra money and say, Sweet Baby Inc. is behind that and this and that and this and that. And I'm just going to wag the finger just like Lucas is talking about. Like I said, you exist for a reason. It's part of the anti-woke crowd, and a lot of people grift for money. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna be fucking nice. Why am I gonna be nice? Like, what do I need to be nice for? Like, there is misinformation that people say to exploit the system because they're getting paid off of it for their own personal partnerships. They really don't give a damn about these comics. They really don't give a damn about any sort of thing like evolutionary for anything. They just want to make money. I do believe there is people in it that just want to make money, and that's it. And they could be insanely wrong or misinterpret a story as you have and as Amazing Lucas has and everything, because you're getting a nice fat slice out of it at the end of the day. As a real comic book fan and Spider-Man fan, why should I take you seriously? That's the main thing that I ask myself. If you really keep saying that Miles is the worst character ever conceived just because of his voice and not the story context of what's going on, not the character himself, and not explaining why do I have to go to some Sweet Baby Inc. video to understand the points you're trying to make on Miles Morales or Spider-Man 2 in general? I don't want to watch that shit. No, I don't want to watch that shit. Explain it right now against Lucas's point. And the points that he's making is not even the greatest thing ever. Like, he's conforming to a lot of radicalism. If it's so easy, why are you just promoting another video? Oh, wait, you want to make money. You want to get some cash. You want to get some extra dosh in your pocket. I'm pretty sure that video is in the description right now. Like, come on, man. I just see through that shit. It's like no, that's not it. That's not what I'm doing. This is exactly what you're doing. You want to farm content just as much as Lucas. Come on, man.
To try and mask their hatred. I'd rather they just come out and say, not my Spider-Man, because he's black, right?
I've seen people say that. I've seen all spectrums, man. At this point, I'm not even surprised. As a Spider-Man fan, I'm not surprised at all.
We had that during, the election when it came to Obama. They didn't know any politics.
Okay, that's a little bit, a little bit crazy. Are we gonna be like a fucking Evan Falarka where he says, is the election gonna hurt Spider-Man PS4? You remember that crap? You remember that stuff? Let's laugh at it real quick. Hold on. That's the leader of the Spidey Squad. I cannot believe he said that. is the U.S. election outcome going to affect Spider-Man PS4? I cannot believe he said that. Oh, my heart. My heart.
Policies, right? But it was just simply because he was black. Hey, no, we don't want him because he's black. I respect people who come out and say they're anti-black hatred, they're racist, they're bigotry, than people who try to masquerade behind, you know, the English language.
This motherfucker really just pulled a straight up Wings of Redemption, dude.
I want to talk about why racists do not bother me.
Right? They
What the fuck? Oh my god, this is a train wreck.
They try to mask their intentions, mask their beliefs, because they feel like, well, if I actually come out and say this, I'll be persecuted. And it's like, well, yes. Because
well, yes. I don't fuck with racists, so I'm just gonna say, well, you know what? Yeah, you kiss my ass. Be like, you know, I am kind of on that tip, so. I mean, yeah, you look, as I always say, you have freedom of speech, but the freedom of speech does not absolve the freedom of consequence. Therefore, if you get this work verbally, or if you go up to someone and say something very discriminating and very nasty, expect that person to, you know, give you the business with the hands. It's just how it is, you know, if you're gonna be like that. So it's kind of actions and then your words like that, and you trying to be all blowhard, they have consequences. So don't be surprised.
It's an antiquated racist perspective. So it's not necessarily you be persecuted, but you will be ostracized. Okay? Those are two different things. It's not that someone will do anything to you, it's just that people will avoid you. So you also have to understand.
I've seen both happen, so just throwing that out there.
That they have never suffered consequences.
I mean, I kind of had to agree with Lucas here. This is a rare take that I actually think is somewhat grounded in reality, because if you're just blanket hating someone for the color of their skin, which they literally could not help at the time at which they were born, I think that's pretty fucking stupid. People who unironically engage in that type of behavior 100% are complete fucking losers. But
I agree. Something of value in this video that I agree. Folks just building their identity to hate on someone's skin color or opinions or personal beliefs, just simply because they want to exist. You are scumbags. It's common knowledge. You're a scum, and that's how you deserve to be treated. Finally, I agree with Griffin Gaming and Amazing Lucas on something that is wild in this almost 2-hour video.
at the same time, he's really trying to oversimplify this argument at this point.
Right?
I think he's just going into like so many tangents. It's a lot of them. Oh boy, it's a lot.
Always been their way or the highway. So when they suffer consequences for their behavior or for their hatred, that's when they cry censorship. Because it's really delusional how these individuals think, right? Because they want to be able to spew just hatred and just real venomous stuff under the guise of free speech and stuff like that. So it's they're so used to having it their way that when actual people come up, you know, good people come up in the ranks and say, we're not doing it this way, they end up becoming fragile. They end up, you know, why so fragile? They end up crying and crumbling before our eyes. And I think that's what we're seeing.
I mean, personally, I'm of the mindset that I think it's better to let people run their fucking mouth and expose themselves for what they truly are, mask off, than trying to censor people, because it keeps, you know, the discourse open in the public, and you can publicly shame people who have stupid fucking takes on all sides of the aisle or from all angles of a perspective. But I think public ridicule, bullying, and overall disagreement is a better source of, I guess, growth than just ostracizing incentivizing these people into their own little circle jerks of the internet to where they can just coexist and, you know, fester and grow. And that's an issue I think we have with today's current social media landscape, is a lot of these platforms have gotten so heavy-handed with banning anyone who differs slightly from the current thing mentality that you have basically these extremists growing in these far-off corners of the internet, far removed from the normal, everyday people.
I don't have much to say on that other than the fact that when it comes to naming and shaming, and you know, we're not in control of these websites, so we can't really do much of anything. If someone gets banned on X, it's whatever, right? Because I mean, it's not like we're in control of the website or what they do. That's fucking Elon Musk's problem, and what he does, and it sucks. Yeah, for some instances it might not be fair, but it's like, you know, I just adhere to the TOS and I don't really get in trouble. So that's kind of how it is. And naming and shaming is never going anywhere. You're going to be screenshotted if you're an asshole. That's par for the course. If you're someone that's a dickhead to literally people due to their race and ethnicity and all that other stuff, then you're going to be named and shamed. And no matter what hive you think you might grow in, if the other person decides not to grow, and if it continues, especially if they're a content creator, they're always going to be documented for research, and they're always going to be ridiculed for thinking that way unless they do make complete change. So I believe that it's a part of the sort of values that people have, like the screenshot button never rests, just like New York, the city that never sleeps. So if someone presses the fucking F12 button and they capture you doing some fuck shit, then they're going to do that. They're going to capture you, screen capture you being racist, and it's going to be posted up for the internet, and many people are going to see it. And if you keep doing it, it's just going to happen as a reoccurring cycle over and over and over again until you finally get the point, hey, this is fucked up, and this site will either disallow it or allow it. You know, I don't make the rules for these websites. If I did, things would be different, but that's kind of how they are now. So yeah, I just think the naming and shaming convention will never die, no matter what hole someone crawls into. It's always going to happen on a public display, because the public display adheres to public opinion, and the court of public opinion is a very vicious bitch.
To my last point is, I don't like this Peter Parker. That's correct. I don't like this Peter Parker.
And you like Miles in these games? Like, Miles is 10 times worse than Peter for all the same reasons that Peter is not a good character in these Spider-Man games.
So
elaborate. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Like, I just think that you threw a dartboard at the story and characterization of Spider-Man 2, and you were hoping that some shit stuck to the wall. Like what I'm hearing is crazy. How is Miles 10 times worse than Peter? And again, it all comes down to the likability of characters, and I mean, people have differing opinions on that, but dude, it does really sound like he's throwing shit at the wall and hoping something sticks with the negativity that he has for the character. I mean, relatively speaking, in my personal experience, I find nothing really wrong with Miles. The only thing I think they could do better is represent him more on a more important scale, and it's something they were trying to do in Spider-Man 2 with the fact that Miles is intrinsically linked to Peter taking off the symbiote. Should the symbiote arc, should it have been longer? Yes, I agree. And then you can see the sort of back and forth drama that they tried to include a bit more deeper with Venom. I believe that the third act is definitely rushed, but I don't think that it was a bad game in terms of story. Spider-Man 1 was just more emotionally superior as a story. That's the only thing I really think about it. But to say it's bad or mid, I don't really disagree with that. I think it was fundamental growth for both characters in the sequel, whether you agree or disagree. I believe there was growth there, character arcs coming to a full circle if you played the previous two Spider-Man games.
So I really don't care what happens to this Peter Parker.
Don't make Miles Spider-Man, bro. Don't do it, gang. Don't say, hey, this man's giving up, he's retiring.
I don't like this guy. To be really honest with you, I like Bubniak's face, whatever his name was. I like the original face. They already changed his face.
Oh God, John Boobiak, whatever his name is, John Boob. Okay, yeah. So I mean, we've already talked about the face change, and I guess I'll illustrate it here. I can see people liking Boobniak, whatever the fuck his name is. His name is so weird to say, by the way. No disrespect, but it is, you know, it is what it is. So that was the previous Spider-Man PS4 face. But he did look old. He didn't look like a 25-year-old. He looked like maybe he was 27, maybe 30, right? So they wanted to change the face for better face mocapping, and they decided to make a decision. And Boobniak was complaining about pay and residuals, and Insomniac was actively arguing on the timeline. So I believe there is two sides to that story that we haven't really seen yet outside of a public argument, but it is what it is. They parted ways, and we have the new face, which is Ben Jordan, and I'm really not upset about it in the slightest. It's like, I think the face looked better in Miles Morales, and it only seemed to, you know, I'm not really the biggest fan of how the face progressed in Marvel Spider-Man 2. I do think in scenes it looks great, but in other scenes it looks like he has like a roided up neck. But you know me, I'm not the one to harp on aesthetics to the point where I'm like, oh, game bad, you know what I mean? I still think that it was fine for the most part for what it was. I think the face looked the best in Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. That's it.
I already don't like him. They changed Mary Jane. Already don't like it. The writing in this game, Spider-Man 2, absolutely trash.
See, I love how he leaves this type of argument towards the end of the video, because then he can go, well, I criticized the story too. This should have been up front, because this is the majority of the reason why people are not happy about Miles replacing Peter. It has nothing to do with any of the bullshit you talked about in the first 50.
It's such a trash story, but you guys don't understand that a retirement is not a break. If it's so trash, why are you not understanding some of the stuff with the characterization and what's going on in the plot and looking back at the clues they left for further games? Like, I don't get it. I think this is a big lack of misunderstanding over a quality issue. That's just me.
15 minutes of this video.
I have no care in the world for this Peter Parker. None whatsoever. And I find it hilarious because you had a lot of these individuals, you know, these incels, neckbeards, those types, the anti-black racists, you had a lot of them criticizing the game for its wokeness and its wokeness, and they completely nerfed Peter and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, well, that's...
I don't think they nerfed Peter Parker. That's something that I heavily disagree with. I mean, the fucking symbiote was ready to choke Craven's head off. He was about to kill him. So if that's your case of him being nerfed as well as getting the new anti-venom symbiote and just cleaning house with the symbiote variants from there, the big giant onslaught looking motherfuckers, like how did Peter get nerfed? Like, if anything, he's stronger than ever. I don't understand. And they know Peter Parker's a threat. They I mean, fucking, like I said, he almost killed Craven, who had to be killed by Venom, who is stronger than Spider-Man is. And then Venom got taken out by the two Spider-Men. You know how it is at the end of the game. I mean, dude, where's the nerfing of this character? What do you mean by nerfed? How was he nerfed in particular? What are you talking about? Like, when people bring up that point, it never makes any true sense. And we know when Spider-Man was straight up fighting Miles, like, he was knocking Miles around. That was not just a one-sided fight. All right, so I don't truly understand that bit at all. Like, what was nerfed about his strength and attributes and accomplishments within the story? Sure, he lost having a conflicted state of mind against Miles, but that was due to the symbiote, and he didn't want it anymore after that. It's a common trope in Spider-Man where he rejects the symbiote, giving him these thoughts to kill. If it was a straight up battle, like battle to the death, just straight up strength and everything, I think that, you know, Peter not holding back, which he does, he pulls his punches. One of those hits Miles, that's it. Miles has impressive abilities, but still, come on, man. Where's the nerfing here? I think both Spider-Man equally grew into stronger characters after this is finished, both mentally and physically.
That's how you feel, then you weren't going to buy the next game anyway, right?
Well, they might if they actually made a good game for once. I mean, there's one thing in pointing out the fact that you don't like a video game and still wanting the next game to potentially be better. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong for hoping that a franchise you actually enjoy eventually gets a good adaptation. And at the same time, pointing out what's wrong with the games that have come out already.
So what is...
Well, the feedback for Marvel Spider-Man 2 that people are mostly pointing out from a nuanced perspective is better side missions could be implemented, and of course the idea of, you know, the traversing is already pretty much pitch perfect, but they said that the symbiote story, mainly, this is the main criticism, was mostly rushed. So I had fun with some side missions. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say all of them were trash, but in the grand scheme of things, like base replay, where is that? Where is that being implemented in my game? So if I want to fight the Kraven's nest of enemies and do those stealth missions, do that again. Where's my replay value? Venom only having 10% of dialogue utilized, that's real feedback. It seems like he was cut out of the game to make another piece of content involving Venom, and they didn't really push their all in the symbiote storyline, so the third act really suffered because of it. I do agree with that. Is it saying though that only if the game was good then we can continue on this point? The game currently is in the game of the year running. If the game wasn't good, the consensus wouldn't be that it's one of Insomniac's like most funnest Spider-Man games of all time. And I mean, the gameplay has significantly improved and it is a fun, joyous time. So outside of wanting to enhance the third chapter, which they probably will, with multiple characters, with those feedbacks in mind, Insomniac even said, "We know we're not perfect," in interviews where they talked with Brian Ithahar. Excuse me. As I'm preaching your ear off with my voice dying. But they even said this. They know this. They know this. They know what's going on. But still, the initial claims that it's just not good. What is... Elaborate, good sir. And we'll go into it point for point.
What does it matter what they do with the story? You don't like Peter, right? So what does it matter what they do with Peter?
Well, maybe if they actually utilized him correctly, people would care about the story. And
how? He's part of like 80% of the game. He has more of a percentage than Miles Morales. He has the most missions. What are you talking about properly utilized? You get more than enough Peter Parker. You do. This is still his prominent story of overcoming the symbiote and having this strong relationship with Harry Osborn. Did you play the game? I don't think you... I don't know.
They would care about the character, and they would look forward to the next games. Like, you're missing that entire point, and I'm pretty sure it's deliberate.
So it just seems... what it comes off as is just fake outrage. They just want to complain.
There are people that do fake outrage. I'm sorry. I agree with that point.
To simply complain. That's what they want.
Well, congratulations, Lucas. If that's the case, you gave them all the attention they ordered.
They want their voices heard because...
Oh yeah, so did you by highlighting this video.
They feel like it's being muffled or they're being silenced, which is absolutely delusional. So they'll scream and cry even louder. I don't care for this Spider-Man, to be honest with you. I think the story is trash. I don't like where they're going. If they want to hand off the mantle to Miles, by all means. I think Miles is honestly, gameplay-wise, I think he's more fun to play than Peter.
And you don't think that was deliberate? You don't think that, you know, they made Miles more fun to play than Peter on purpose so that when they eventually got rid of Peter, nobody would care because they'd be like, oh, well, Miles is more fun to play. Like, that's a deliberate gameplay decision to back up the narrative decision. Like, I mean, are you really that dense that you can't put 2 and 2 together in that situation? I mean, come on, bro. Like, even for you, the amazing Lucas, I know you're not that dumb.
That's a stupid argument. inherently dumb. Peter has the symbiote. That's fun. He's the only one that gets the symbiote. Apparently, Miles was gonna have it, and that shit got cut. It's fun. It's fun gameplay. You can do symbiote surge, rage of the gods, beat down to people, and he has his own little gadgets, the spider arms, do spider lasers and shit like that. How is Peter's gameplay not fun? But I mean, Miles also has equally fun gameplay, no matter if you're switching between characters or not. Bioelectricity is always going to be fun, no matter what it is. You cannot look at both characters and say, oh, well, you know, I mean, I guess Miles was the only fun one, because that simply means you ignored all of the symbiote sections when you actually do have the suit, and the game does pick up when Peter is about to die, and he fucking goes apeshit and starts, like, throwing people around and throwing tendrils everywhere, and it's fun gameplay. And it's Peter exclusive. Only Peter gets the symbiote suit in a gameplay mechanic perspective. So why are you saying that only Miles is like the most fun one just because he has electrical powers? You know, both are equally fun if you really break it down to brass tacks, and I'm not seeing any argument other than a subjective standpoint of saying you prefer one Spider-Man over the other. Both of them are fun to play with in this game.
It's as simple as that. I think he's more fun to play as Peter. So if they can expound upon his abilities and improve the gameplay, absolutely, let's freaking go. Now, of course, that's going to alienate a lot of the racists. You know,
oh my God, he keeps going with this point.
Neckbeards and incels, it's going to alienate them. But I mean, at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do. We can't cater as a society to the dregs of the society.
Dude, I am just so ready for this video to be over with at this point. Like, I am sick and tired of listening to this guy.
I think I'm ready for both of y'all's point, like, basically in. I think I'm ready for both of that. God damn, bro. Oh, talk about some terrible opinions, bad faith arguments. Just, oh, my ears won't stop bleeding.
Get on his soapbox and give this entire speech about how much more morally superior he is compared to everyone else who disliked this game. Because apparently it's perfectly fine for him to find fault with the game and its narrative decisions, but if you find faults with it, then you're a terrible person, apparently. A dreg of society, as he calls it.
We can't cater to the
I just think both of you have a severe lack of misunderstanding certain things about how they conducted things in this game, especially either gameplay wise or with some characterizations here or there.
Cuckoo for cocos. We can't cater to the you know, the bigots. We can't cater to the racists. We can't cater to them, unfortunately.
Wait, unfortunately?
To the
Unfortunately? Okay, that's Lucas, I think you want to say we can't cater to them at all, not unfortunately. Like, what point are you making by saying unfortunately? Holy shit.
You know, the bigots, we can't cater to the racists. We can't cater to them, unfortunately.
Fucking crackers are some of the worst fucking people on God's green earth.
I swear he played this clip like 8 times and it stopped being funny after the first one.
I swear to God, you guys are like a fucking disease. You're a fucking cancer on this goddamn planet.
Keep that same energy.
Right? Because I know, you know, in capitalism, if you can make $1 off a racist, you can make $1, right? But that's harmful to society as a whole. So
I don't know, man. Wouldn't separating them from their money be a more beneficial thing in the long run? I don't know. Just food for thought.
They need to be going in a different direction and let them die by the wayside. It's just as simple as that. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. Whether or not you believe, look, this is woke, okay? There's an agenda behind it. It's an agenda. That's what it is. You need to look at the ESRB or whatever, the ESB. You need to look at what's really going on here, okay? This is an agenda. It's an anti-white.
I don't give a shit about this fucking thing that people mention as well. Oh, the ESG score. Shut up. That's what I be thinking. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, some of you people are not fans and you just have a fundamental lack of understanding some of these characters, which I've seen time and time again. Some of these people have not played any of these games whatsoever, and they will jump on the clown bandwagon, whether it goes for Lucas trying to be extreme, or whether it goes for Mr. Griffin Gaming here, who doesn't understand any fundamentals whatsoever about how Miles Morales was conducted in this story. Instead choosing to jump to conclusions, choosing to say stuff and agree with terms, and people agreeing with terms like Peter has been nerfed. It's just absolute abysmal, shallow opinions all across the board.
Agenda, and I'm not for it, all right? Or if you can't believe, listen, I get it. Hashtag not my Spider-Man. Boo-hoo. Don't buy the game. Great. I mean, just be quiet on your way out.
See, this is another thing I find very ironic, because Lucas is more than happy to voice his opinion about anything and everything because he's a YouTuber, dude. But the average person, God forbid, they say why or give a reason for why they're not supporting something. You know, just shut up and don't buy the product, you fucking normie. Leave the commentary to the professionals.
Well, I mean, if you make like 50, 100 videos on one particular product and you're really going ham, you know you're going to entice people to possibly pick up that product and play it, even if you're boycotting it, right? So you're only sort of dedicating to the cause by doing that. As I said, the real boycott, the real man who did it was James Rolfe when he boycotted Ghostbusters 2016, where he said, I'm only making this video, not seeing it, that's it, no more videos, nothing else, moving on, done. No support, no buy, that's it. I'm not gonna make 100 angry video game nerd episodes on this fucking thing and entice one of my audience members to buy said product because I have a hate boner. I'm not gonna hate watch like some of you people do out there. Hate watch to the point where it's just like, well, Velma's getting a second season. Guess whose fault that is? Like, I'm telling you, what people tend to preach turns out sometimes when they do behavior of this magnitude, it is counterproductive to what you're trying to accomplish, which is to bury said thing. And when it doesn't flop, you get mad, you get pissed off, you get upset. It's like you only contributed to the cost.
There's the door, go and exit. It's as simple as that. I have no preference when it comes to which way they go with Peter or Miles. I want a good game. I want a good story. If that's a story with Miles or if that's a story with Peter, then so be it. But I find it interesting how they think that Peter isn't going to have any whatsoever interaction in the game.
This sounds like a massive straw man because I don't think anyone has been saying this.
That's not what they mean by main Spider-Man. You can have a main Spider-Man and still have, Peter be around. Just like Batman is the main character of Batman, but you also have Robin and Nightwing, right? And Batgirl who make an appearance.
I agree. I mean, just because Miles is in this position for now doesn't mean he's going to be in that position forever unless Peter passes away. Peter was literally arguing against the idea of taking a break to Miles Morales in the final cutscene. He was saying, are you sure? I'm sorry, I hate to ask you this. Constantly apologizing over and over again. It's like he didn't want to leave his best friend behind to fight crime where it's so dangerous, and still wanted to be there even though it was sensible to take a break. I pay attention to the story. I don't know what to tell you.
So given the threat of the next game, how big it may be, obviously he's going to have backup. It's the reason why he had backup in this one when it came to Venom. So I think, people want to be upset, and they have every right to do that. And you know what? I have every right to laugh at their, their hatred, their racism, and their bigotry, and, call it what it is. Nevertheless, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did...
Well, I think it's pretty safe to say that I did not enjoy this video.
I don't think I enjoyed either video. It's a few points here or there that were kind of sensible and agreeable, but... these two videos were just absolute shit shows. I think I'm done. listening to these. I've listened to the entirety. That's it. And that's as much as my brain could take. Enjoy this. Criticism sucks forever. That only racists don't like Miles Morales in Spider-Man 2 with Griffin Gaming featuring the amazing Lucas. Hopefully it was a fun time just laughing at all this dumb shit, this all dumb malarkey going on right now. Holy shit, it's the pulsating sack of skulls right here just invade my screen. So once again, I'm Renegade Operative. I'm signing off. Woo, this was a doozy, and I will talk to you guys next time. Later.